Hi, I'm Chelsea. I serve as a consultant on the church strengthening team of the Dallas Baptist Association. And I just want to thank you for taking time to watch this video and learning about ways that you can help from home and serve others during this time. I think a lot of people are wanting and willing to help. They're just a little bit confused on how they can do that currently. So today we're just going to go over some simple ways that everybody can get involved and continue serving Christ even while they are at home. We know that as Christ followers, we are called to serve others even during times of crisis. So we're going to take a look at a handout today. There's going to be a link in the comment section that you can pull this handout up and make your own notes on it. So feel free to save it to your computer or print it off. And so we're just going to go through that step by step. I will pause after each section, and we encourage you guys to post in the comments if you have any questions about that section, or if you have other ideas that aren't listed here that you'd like to share with others. We'd welcome you to do that. So we'll pause at the end of each section to get to that. So as we get started, before we get into some specifics, one general thing that I do want to just remind you of that can help a whole lot during this time is this really making sure that you're sharing God's peace through your actions, attitude, and words. So whether you're going to the store, it impacts how much you buy and things you buy. So we're not the ones that are going out and cleaning off all the toilet paper from the shelves. And we're the ones that are treating employees and other customers in kindness and grace and love during this time. It also impacts how we even eat around the dinner table, especially if we have children, showing them that it's okay to be concerned about things, but using this as an opportunity to show them what to do with that concern, showing them that when we have things we're worried about, that we can give it over to God and put our trust in Him. Another thing that we need to keep monitoring is what we're posting online. Hopefully we're representing Christ well in everything that we're doing. So that includes posting things that foster peace instead of panic, and unity rather than division. We're also going to be sure that we're really thinking of others as more important than ourselves, so that we're all complying with the regulations and recommendations that are given for each of our cities. And I know some of that sounds really obvious, but it can make a big difference if we can all work together to continually show the peace that we have in Christ throughout this time. All right, so we're going to get into some 4 different categories today. Those are going to be praying, learning, serving, and building community. In each section that we go through, there's going to be opportunities for people of all ages, from young children all the way through senior adults, to have projects and activities that they can do. And we're also going to hit some topics that are designed for church leadership. Some are designed for families, and others are designed that even individuals can do and participate in. So our first topic we're going to be looking at is prayer. And I know sometimes prayer gets overlooked as something that's not that important, but of course we know that apart from Christ, we can't do anything. And so prayer really does make a big difference. A lot of us participate in prayer walks at different times, and so some of those have been limited, but there are some things that we can still do, even within community of each other, to continue to pray for our cities and countries around the world at this time. The first thing we're going to talk about is a virtual prayer walk. Google Earth, I'm sure many of you have gotten on that before, is a great tool that you can use to continue to have virtual prayer walks. You can let members of your church know of a specific area that you would like them to visit. It can be a city or a country or a specific location, even within your own neighborhood. So senior adults through kids can get on this, and everybody can have a virtual prayer walk, even though we can't go to some of these locations specifically. We have a toddler, and even he loves getting on Google Earth and seeing all the different places. So that's a really easy and neat tool that we can utilize during this time. Another one we have are just neighborhood prayer walks. A lot of us are able to just have a short walk in our front yard or down our sidewalk of our street. And some of us do that on a daily basis, just for 5-10 minutes to get some fresh air. And we can turn that into a time that we're really praying for our neighborhoods. So using that daily walk as a neighborhood prayer walk time can be extremely useful. One app that you can use to help with that is called Bless Every Home. This is a free app that you can download. And so even if there's some houses that you're not sure of the names of your neighbors, it will actually come up on that app so you can get a list of who lives in your neighborhood, and it'll also help you coordinate as you specifically pray for them. So again, that's Bless Every Home. You can download that app. In this handout that you're seeing on the screen, there are direct links to all of these things. So you're able to access that. If you just click on the link, it should take you directly to that resource. Another thing you can do within your church family is organize a community prayer drive. So instead of walking, you're remaining in your vehicles, and you can outline specific locations that you can drive to and park and pray for. Please do remember that as you're doing this, not to impede any traffic, especially if you're around stations of first responders or healthcare providers, and that you also remain in your cars at all times. So you can send out a prayer prompt to people that are joining you, and y'all can park, even maybe have signs in your car that just says we're praying for you, and spend some time in specific locations praying within your vehicle. This is also great to utilize if you've been ministering to particular neighborhoods that maybe you're not able to visit anymore. Having your church members line the streets of those neighborhoods with signs and pray for them specifically is also just a really simple way to let them know that you're thinking about them and still trying to serve them during this time. Another thing you can do, especially if you're senior adults or even kids, and you just can't get out at this time, is to print out pictures of different people or places that you'd like to pray for and spread them out throughout your house. And that way you can have a prayer walk within the walls of your home without having to get outside. So you could put pictures of healthcare providers, first responders, or even government officials, and just put them out in different places. You can walk from picture to picture and remember to pray for those at designated times. So those are some simple things that you can do to kind of continue prayer walking in our communities. Another thing you can do that's not necessarily specific to this time period, but something that you can do year-round, is to think about adopting an unreached people group. This is great for entire churches or even a family. You can go to the website that's listed there and select a people group that has not been reached by the gospel, and start taking time to pray for them. This is great for families. You can get the kids involved by learning more about the country where your people group resides. You can visit that place on Google Earth, or maybe make a food from that location, or even learn a few words in their language as you pray for them. And again, that's something that can continue even after the shelter in place is over. So that's a great thing to get started on. Another thing to think about is we do have vulnerable people in our community that were already vulnerable, and now they're even more vulnerable during this time period. And one of those groups are children who are waiting for families. These are kiddos that are currently in the foster care system, but have not found a permanent placement and are still waiting to receive that. So you can actually go to the website that's listed on the link and search according to state or area or age or whatever you would like to search for, and it will pull up a kid that is waiting for a family, and you can pray for them each day during this time. So that's a simple way that you can care for and get involved with some of our more vulnerable people in our communities. So we're going to pause there for just a brief minute. Those are some simple things that you can do to continue praying for your community. If you want to go to the comments page right now, you can suggest other ways that we can pray. Or also, if you have any questions about any of those things that we talked about, you can post them there, and we'll try to monitor those and respond in a quick manner of time, hopefully. So feel free to take time to do that. And then we're going to head on to the next section, which is learning. So during this time, although we're no longer to do a lot of in-person meetings and events, this actually might give us some more flexibility in our time to learn and prepare for when we can meet in person again. Specifically for church leadership, this could be a great time to review your child protection policies and training, or make any updates that need to happen, we have some great resources on our website that you can access through the links that are listed. We also have resources that will take you to training that you can get to learn signs of human trafficking and child abuse and how to report those. This is great because when our buildings are open, it'll help make sure that we're better prepared to protect everyone that's in our congregation. So again, maybe using some of this time where we can't get together with others to prepare ourselves for that time when we can. Another thing that you can do is receive training on how to care for vulnerable children. A lot of these kiddos come from a background of trauma, and so church, Sunday school leaders, children's workers, youth workers can take advantage of this time. A lot of agencies are posting online training that can help with this so that we can better minister to these members of our congregation. Also, if you've got foster or adoptive families in your church, this is an excellent time to get that training to become licensed babysitters or respite providers. That's a super great way to help wraparound support for those families. So if we can come out of this and they have several babysitters and respite providers ready to go, that would be a wonderful blessing to them. You can also utilize this information for anyone in your congregation that's interested in beginning the process or learning more about the process of foster and adoption. So great opportunity to do that. Again, a lot of agencies are posting that online, and we have a few listed in the links below that you can visit. Another thing that you can research during this time is a particular area of need. So if your church or small group or family has a specific interest, maybe in homelessness or food security, this is a great time to learn more about what the needs are within your community and what's already being done to address those needs. You can connect with local nonprofits and organizations that are working to address those needs and see how you can volunteer to help them. If there's opportunities that you can meet now, that's great. Some of them may not have opportunities that you can plug into now, but now would be the time that you can make a plan together as a family or an individual or small group of how you're going to meet some of those needs when this time is over. So that's a really simple thing that you can do. And one other thing is to complete some small group studies just to better equip your staff or family to reach your community. So with our current social changes, you can take advantage of this time through reading some materials such as Missional Essentials, the Gospel Primer, or Tangible Kingdom Primer. These are great resources to help you learn how to more effectively connect with your community. All of those you can access on Amazon, or you can go to their specific websites. Many of them are now available to where you can just directly download them. So perfect time to take advantage of those and become even more equipped during this time from when the doors are open again. As we're scrolling on down, we'll look at some ways that you can equip your families. One simple thing that you can do is some families for the first time are regularly eating dinner together. Maybe before this time, everyone was really busy getting from sports practices to school events, so all sorts of things. And so family dinner time might have gotten cut, and now it has been brought back. And so this is an excellent time to equip your families to utilize family dinner time. You can send just dinner conversation prompts or dinner devotionals out to members of your church that they can use with their family. I mean, this would be great if after this is over, we come back and parents are better equipped to be primary disciplers in the lives of their children. We have a great resource that can help with that called Faith Path, and you'll see that link in blue there. This site breaks it down by age, so it gives parents a guide according to their child's age of how to lead them in discipleship. So great tool that you can utilize for your congregation members and individual families to use. One other thing is while your students are waiting and you may not be able to have youth activities, start getting them learning more about issues that are going on within their community and around the world. One way to do this is to participate in a hunger study. The WMU and World Vision both have these. They are experiential studies, so they go through and do different activities throughout the day. Most of these can be done at home, so you don't need to be in a large group to do them. But then you can get together and discuss what they learned, what they experienced, and any questions that they might have. So that's another resource, especially that youth ministers can utilize at this time. Okay, we're going to pause there and again direct you to the comments section. So if you have any questions on how to access any of those studies, or if you have suggestions of ones that maybe your church has done, we'd love to hear that on down in the comments section there. Okay, we're going to move on up to the serving section. And so during this time, we can still look for ways to both tell the good news, but also to be good news to our neighbors in practical ways. One of those includes making sure that we're really supporting our local hospitals. Our local hospital here in Dallas has shared some things with us that we've posted. Parkland is still looking for congregations to provide meals for their staff. This is just a really tangible way that you can thank those that are serving on the front lines during this time. We provided the contact person there, so you can get in touch with them if your church would be interested in doing that. And if you have access to things such as masks or scrubs or monetary funds that you would like to donate towards that, we've also provided the contact information there down below that you can access them with any information that you'd have about that. Another thing that we might not have thought of is that we are still in need of blood donors. Sometimes during crisis that gets cut back, the volunteers that normally come in to do that. And so it is still a high need at this time. There is a number for Red Cross that is there, and they can direct you to the closest blood donation site to you. And so you can encourage your congregation to still participate in that. Do make sure that this is not for senior adults or people with underlying health conditions. This is just for individuals that are healthy and able to participate in that at this time. So that's another really simple and needed way that you can help your community. Another thing here in Dallas is to help pay for emergency child care for our healthcare workers and first responders. We do have some YMCAs that are offering that services to them at this time, but it does still cost to pay for the workers that are doing that. So one thing your church can do is call that number or send an email to them and let them know that you're interested in donating some funds to cover the costs at that time. So again, just another simple, tangible thing you can do to thank those that are working on the front lines. Outside of medical needs, there are some people we can continue to serve in our community year-round, but particularly right now, and that includes helping CPS care for our vulnerable kiddos at this time. There is a website called Care Portal that your church can register for, or an individual can sign up to access as well. And what this website does is it takes needs that are posted specifically from caseworkers and connects them to people that are interested in meeting those needs. So you can search by zip code or city, county, whatever area that you would like to look at, and you can see any needs that have been posted. These needs go to sometimes help bio families stay together. Other times it goes to help support foster families that are caring for kids at this time. And the needs range in anything from a bed to items of clothing to house repairs. It can be a variety of things. The good thing about Care Portal is when you see that need, you can opt to meet the entire need or part of the need. So you're not responsible for meeting the whole thing. So maybe if a bed costs $100, you can sign up and say, I can't do 100, but we can do 50 at this time, and someone else can meet the other $50 to meet that need. That puts you in direct contact with the caseworker who is then able to secure whatever item is needed and provide that to those families. So this is a great resource to utilize. in now, but also even after this time is over. So it's great to get familiar with that right now and then continue to use that to meet practical needs in your community. Also, we've seen an increase in need at locations such as food distribution sites, homeless providers, all of these things. As the needs have gone up, they have gotten more requests for help, but their volunteer pool sometimes is depleted during this time. And so there are some critical volunteer needs from local nonprofits and partnering organizations that are needing to be filled. These can be found on a platform called VOMO. And so if you click on the blue link that says volunteer needs, it will take you to that platform and you can scroll through and find any that you might be able to meet. These can be things from stocking shelves to helping disinfect non-perishable items to helping prepare meals for pickup for our neighbors who are homeless. All of these things are listed there. Again, please make sure this isn't opportunities for senior adults or those with underlying health conditions, but other individuals that are able to get out at this time. But all of those are listed on that site that you can see and help meet those. Going on down to the next thing, if you've got folks in your congregation that enjoy sewing, or maybe you've got some individuals that are looking for a new hobby to take up, now is a great time to do that. In addition to the things you've seen circulating about needs for masks and also headbands with buttons for healthcare providers, there's still other things that are collected year-round, such as blankets for crisis pregnancy centers, hats, gloves, and scarves for homeless outreach services. We've listed some there that will take those items. WMU also has some sewing projects listed on their website. These are all things that people can continue to make and drop off during this time. One particular one I want to direct your attention to are book bags. This is a request from one of our partnering organizations called Literacy Connects Us. They make and receive these bags and give to kids to use during a summer meal program time at the various sites that are around our city. They can get these bags and transport books back and forth from their home to these sites. And also when they conduct literacy fairs, they send home families with books, and these book bags are just a fun way to help kids get involved and engaged in reading. These are super simple to make, and they actually utilize t-shirts, so you probably have some of those lying around your house and you don't need to go get other materials. These are also really easy, so a great opportunity for kids to participate in a mission project while they're at home. I am extremely craft impaired, but even I can make these, so hopefully this is something that anyone of any age can participate in. If you click on Literacy Connects Us, it will take you to the address where you can mail any bags that you've completed to. It'll also show you some pictures and things from some of their projects where they use those bags. So that's a simple, fun family project that you can participate in. Okay, we're gonna pause there. And again, any questions or comments about some of these things you can list down in that section, and we will respond to those in a timely fashion. All right, we also want to think about serving those who are still serving us during this time. So any postal workers that you have, or delivery drivers, sanitation workers that are still coming to your house to drop off things, we need to make sure that we're really showing appreciation to them. Some things you can do are just make notes or post notes to your doors, thanking them, even baking goods to leave on the porch for them to take, or individually wrapped snacks, bottled water, things like that that they can use. You can write window or chalk messages for them, telling them how much you appreciate them. Sometimes they get overlooked, and they are continuing to serve even during this time, and so we really need to make sure that they feel appreciated and know that we see them in all that they're doing. Also, if you've got elderly members or even neighbors or other people that you know that are in need, now is a great time that you can send grocery store cards, Amazon cards, or even meal delivery cards like Uber Eats, and just mail those to individual families to use. That's just a really simple way to be an extra blessing to them during this time. Of course, we can always give financially. The DBA has actually set up a pandemic church assistance fund, and so you can contribute to that. The link is listed there. If you click it, it will take you there. And this fund goes to assist other churches within our association that might be struggling financially during this time. They can apply for a grant. So others are welcome to contribute to that. If you know of other churches that are maybe struggling, you might consider donating directly to their benevolence fund. Or if you have a nonprofit that you partner with, checking on them and seeing if they could use extra donations at this time is also extremely helpful. Some of us are able to continue working during this time, and so as stimulus checks and things arrive, we might pray about how God would have us use those to assist others that were not able to work or whose hours got cut back. That can be used as an offering to Him to bless and serve others. Another simple way is really just taking time to clean out your closets and cabinets. I know that's often on people's to-do lists and they just don't have time to get around to it. But now, maybe while we're stuck at home, we do have time to do that. And so you can collect specifically clothes if you'll go through your closets and there's things that you don't use or that you can get rid of. There are drop-off bins at a lot of our partner organization sites where you can drop those there. Particularly, I know our Calling and the Stew Pot are receiving those donations at this time, so that those are two places that you can call and see if you can drop those items off. Other household goods you can save or take to a drop-off location for different organizations that have thrift stores that assist their nonprofits. This is an excellent time to go ahead and gather those things up. Also, if you scroll on down, you can mail or porch drop some boredom boxes to kiddos. Be particularly sure to get any single parents that are out there that will be appreciative, and just include some items that kids can do at home, maybe while mom or dad are working from home and they're finished with school, just to keep them occupied. So things like crayons or card games, coloring books, craft supplies, bubbles, chalk, those types of things can be extremely helpful to parents at this time. You may even do that just to all your families in your congregation, just as a way to say, hey, we're thinking about y'all, and just to bless the kiddos at this time. Also, be sure that you're checking on vulnerable people that you know. Things like grocery delivery, prescription pickup, lawn care, or even sending actual cards to them can be helpful, making sure that nobody falls through the cracks and everybody is taken care of. A simple thing that families can do together is to make family coupon books. Each member of the family will make books of things that they can do to help serve one another around the house. And then other family members get to cash in those coupons for those acts of service. This is really easy. Anybody can do that and involve every family member. But it's also a great way to take use of this time to instill an attitude of service in our children and teach them to serve no matter where we're at. So that's something really simple that we can do. All right, moving on to the next section, we have building community. We know that God has created us for community, and now it's really vital to not only build up your church community, but also to still be actively seeking out and bringing others into community. We know that God is still at work, and we're still called to make disciples even during this time. And so finding ways to build up community can be helpful to not only our neighborhoods, but also our church members. One simple way to do that is making sure that you're getting resources and vital information out to the people that you know. If you're a church leader, make sure everyone in your congregation knows where schools are having meal pickups, how they can access internet resources, where or how to navigate unemployment resources. All of those things are extremely important. sometimes people aren't going to ask you about those things, or if they have a question, they may not bring that up. And so just making sure you're getting that information without them having to ask, it can be helpful. If you're individual or family, make sure your neighbors have access to this information as well. And so just compiling a resource list of things that people might need. If you need help finding any of these things in your area, you can just send me an email and I'll be happy to help locate those resources and get that information to you. Another thing we can do to make sure we're building community is be sure that we're connecting with other pastors, church leaders that are in our areas and continuing to support and encourage one another. But not just getting together, and this can be, of course, through Zoom or any other FaceTime, chat, whatever you have accessible, but not just to talk to each other, but also to collaborate. Sometimes we forget that piece of, okay, let's work together to still reach our neighborhoods. So that can be a great time to kind of divide and conquer, making sure everyone in your community is taken care of. And scrolling on down, also be sure that, of course, we're reaching out to our elderly neighbors, those who might have lost jobs or wages, single parents, people with underlying health conditions. In a particular group we might overlook but might be having a really hard time during this time are those who have mental illness or struggle with addictions. So be sure you're checking in on them. This can be by meeting tangible needs, giving a FaceTime call, sending a note of encouragement, or even a special care package to them. Just making sure that nobody is alone during this time and everybody has access to what they need. So be sure you're checking out on your neighbors. If you don't know anyone that's struggling, maybe reach out to some organizations that service a lot of people. So maybe reach out to a nonprofit that works in addiction recovery, or some community mental health resources, and ask them how you can help encourage some of their clients. One other thing that you can do is to help make sure people have access to counseling services at this time. There are a lot of practices that are now having clients meet online, so they don't even have to go to an office. They can use their phone or computer to meet with a counselor. Some of these organizations have also made it to where churches can pay in advance for any of their members or neighbors to access these counseling services and not have to worry about barriers of payment. So we've got some resources for that on our website under our COVID-19 resource page. We'll be sure to post a link about that in our comment section as well. So do make sure that everybody has access to counseling services that might have a need at this time. Another easy way to continue to build community is to provide online lessons. So if you have members of your congregation or even of your family that are really great at cooking something, or if they have a skill for arts or music or sewing, now is the time that they can help teach others. So just simply recording that and posting that for others to take part in your neighborhood or within your congregation is an easy way to keep building community. Another way to connect with others is to maybe join an online community class, exercise group, or other chats, just to get, again, connecting with other people that maybe don't go to your church but live within your community. So that's an easy way to still be reaching out and building relationships. You might even utilize some of those sewing projects. Someone could video how to make those and share that with others. So that's an easy way to both have a service project but continue to build community. Another simple way is just putting little libraries that you can create, just a bin of books or games, puzzles, maybe even some non-perishable items out where neighbors can access that if they need it. Do be sure if you do this that you have a sign and people know how to properly sanitize those items so that they're being cleaned as they're returned and before they're used, so that's not being passed around. But that can be just a simple way to get resources and help build community within your own neighborhoods. Next, we also want to make sure that, of course, we are continuing to support local businesses. this is just a big part of being a good neighbor, which we definitely want to be during this time. You can purchase Groupons or gift cards to local businesses, shop online, or place a takeout order. And also be sure that we're really tipping our delivery drivers really well at this time to thank them. So again, just being a good neighbor is super important. Another thing you can do is continue to build relationships with people that are in your neighborhood. Many of your neighborhoods probably already have a Facebook group or some other app that they use to keep in touch. So make sure you're a part of that and are contributing to that during this time. If your neighborhood doesn't already have one, you might consider starting one. They're very simple. It can even be a text message group or a Facebook group, any of those things, where you can just continue to post words of encouragement and check on each other. You can also use that with chalk, just saying hi or having kids draw things in the driveway or up and down the sidewalk to encourage folks as they take their daily walks. That can be helpful as well. Also want to be sure we're utilizing our driveway space. This can be easy way just to say hi to neighbors. If you're eating a picnic lunch outside with your family or having a music party, even on your daily walks, if you just carry a sign to wave at elderly neighbors' houses to say hi and encourage them, that can help. You can also do a bear hunt or a scavenger hunt where you let neighbors know ahead of time that your kiddos are going to be walking down the sidewalk and looking in their windows for specific items. That's a simple and easy way just to bring some encouragement to the neighborhood. Another thing that you can do with your church members, but also being sure we're inviting people that aren't part of our church community, is to participate in just some simple group fun. You can do a Netflix party movie night where everybody's watching the same movie and able to comment at the same time on that. You can have a game night where people can play charades or Pictionary or categories online together. We also have some apps listed on another resource that's listed on our COVID-19 page. So we'll post that there. That will give you some suggestions for easy to do online games with groups. You can even have dinner together, just FaceTiming other people while you're eating dinner or having coffee or whatever you're doing. Just be sure you're including other people within that online through all kinds of either Zoom or Slack or even FaceTime will work for those things. If anybody that you know is having a birthday that's coming up or an anniversary or other type of celebration, be sure that you're still celebrating with them. That can be very important to uphold that community feel. You can Uber Eats a cupcake to them or some other celebratory item. And then call them to sing happy birthday or say hi or just give them a word of encouragement. So that's something easy that people can do to continue building relationships and maintaining community. One other thing we'd encourage everybody to do is to mail out letters to neighbors, giving out your own contact information, whether that's cell phone number or email, and just asking if they have any needs to let you know. Now, you may not be able to meet all those needs, but you might be able to direct them towards resources that can. But just really making sure that we've taken time to connect with each of our neighbors and are monitoring them during this time. So those are some really simple things. Hopefully there are at least one or two that you might not have thought of yet that you can get involved. Again, if you're an individual or a church leader, hopefully these are some things that you can put to use. Under our resources page there are links to other articles and ideas and suggestions. Our DBA page also has an entire page designed just for COVID-19 resources. One of those is 31 ways that church leaders can stay connected to their members during this time. So those are some things you might want to access and browse through just to give you some more ideas. So I hope those were helpful to you. Again, if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to share those. We'll be continuing to check on those throughout this time to make sure any questions get addressed. But again, also, if you have things that weren't listed that you'd like to share with others, we'd love to hear those as well. And again, I just want to thank you for continuing to be hands and feet of Jesus during this time. he is still very much at work in our communities, and he still gives us opportunities to join him in that work and serve with him. So let's make the best use of this time and continue to utilize that for Christ. So thank you all again for watching. Let us know if we can help you in any way.